If you go to any school in the country, and I'm talking about Russia right now and Russian schools, you will find a lot of English teachers who make a lot of mistakes in English. I'm not talking about their accent. They make grammar mistakes, they make pronunciation mistakes, they make vocabulary mistakes, they're not clear, etc., etc., etc. They make a lot of mistakes. So on the one hand, we have a whole generation of people who suddenly woke up to the fact that my English teacher was making a lot of mistakes. So I probably learned incorrect English, or because it's my teacher's fault, my school teacher's fault, that I still do not speak English. So let me find a better way to learn English. They go to YouTube. What do these people see when they go to YouTube? They see confident people wearing bright clothes. They see professionally done videos. The videos are professionally edited. They look flawless. And they hear a lot better English. They hear that those people on YouTube speak English a lot better than their English school teacher. And they instantly feel like they can trust these YouTubers, and they learn from them, and they take those YouTube lessons seriously. Basically, these people are looking for some authority figure, and they manage to find those authority figures on YouTube, and now this person is their go-to expert. Oh, I learned so many new expressions from these videos. This person taught me so much. You're the best teacher. We see comments like this on YouTube. But what happens is that people choose one authority figure to be responsible for their entire learning process, to be responsible for their success, and to be responsible for their failure or multiple failures when it comes to speaking English correctly. People don't like the idea of checking information. You can never trust one person. You need to learn to work with the source. What is your source? When students write something in their essays, I always ask them, what's your source? Have you ever heard a native speaker use that word before? Have you heard a native speaker say so? If your answer is yes, what's your source? You need to know your source. Was it a YouTube video? Was it a blog post? Was it a movie? Was it a podcast episode? Where did you hear that? Where did you learn that? If your source is one YouTuber who doesn't really care about teaching English to people who cannot afford private classes, all they care about is monetizing their content, that's not a credible source. What is your source? You need to know your source because this will give you confidence, and you will know that whatever you're saying is correct, and whatever you're saying makes sense, not only to you, not only in your head, it makes sense to other native speakers who are listening to you. If your answer is no, I have never heard a native speaker say so, then you have a hypothesis. What do you do with a hypothesis? You test it. You want to go and use the self-correction resources or the self-editing tools and test your hypothesis. You can prove that it is right, or you can prove that it is wrong. And if your hypothesis is wrong, you will definitely find a better word combination to replace that stubborn old habit of yours with a natural sounding phrase. This is what self-correction is all about. It's about being able to listen to yourself, being able to monitor everything that you're saying and how you sound in English, being able to give feedback to yourself so that you can correct yourself, not so that you can blame yourself for speaking badly. A lot of people are shocked and surprised by this question. Have you ever heard a native speaker say so? They've never thought about it, and they don't think that they're supposed to think about it. The question that I get asked a lot is, do you mean I have to check every single word that I say? Well, my answer is yes. Do you want to pay attention to every thought that you think? Well, if you're trying to deliver important information, if you care about your listeners, and if you care about delivering it correctly, well, probably you should care about the message you're sending. And moreover, you should care about whether your message is being received. Because too many people care only about what they are saying, and they do not care at all about whether their message is being received and whether their message is being received correctly. They just don't care. When we communicate, there's the verbal part of communication, and we also send so many nonverbal signals. It's not only about retrieving data from our memory and sending it over to our conversation partner. Our conversation partner also needs to have the capacity to receive data, but it's also our job to make sure that we're sending the correct message. If you're not being clear, and if you don't care about sounding clear, it's a problem. A lot of people care only about, how do I put it? They care about looking good in the eyes of other people and in the presence of other people, meaning they want positive feedback. They want appreciation. They want somebody to tell you, oh, your English skills are fantastic, but they don't really want to be understood. I mean, they don't care. They don't care if they're being understood. So to wrap it up, here is my message for you. Remember that I am not a native speaker myself. You will not find YouTube videos where I explain to you what a pop song means line by line. You will not find YouTube videos with me teaching you some grammar, English grammar. Not because I'm not qualified to teach grammar, not because I don't know how to teach it. For me, the most important thing is that I can explain English grammar to myself. I know how to use it because I can explain it to myself. And I encourage you to learn to explain grammar to yourself. You don't need to go to YouTube and try to teach other people. First, learn to teach yourself. Explain things to yourself. There are more qualified people to teach grammar. And this is reason number one. And reason number two is that if you're following my work, you're at the level where you can use the target language, which is English, to learn more about the target language. And that's what mastery is all about. You want to teach yourself to understand English grammar by looking at the English language, not by listening to other non-native speakers and their thought process and their interpretation of the English grammar. You want to be learning from native speakers. So my advice for you is go and grab grammar books written for and by native speakers. You probably don't want to be working with ESL grammar books anymore if your goal is native like fluency, if you're advanced but you need more. You want to start working with books and explanations and materials designed for native speakers. We have these books in the community of practice. Go to the section grammar, download them, open them on the page that's relevant to you, and do the exercises. I'm not sure what you need to practice, but go and practice that thing. At this point, well, at least this is true for me and for people I work with, it's not really important to memorize grammar rules because we're not preparing for any test. What is important is understanding. You want to understand how the language works, because this is how you're learning to use it with confidence. I do not teach grammar in my videos because I am a learner myself, and everything you're seeing on my page and in the community of practice is my own practice routine. I am practicing together with you every single day. And I don't think I'm the best person to explain how I understand grammar, but I'm giving you all the tools so that you can learn to understand it for yourself. Because we are developing a very important cognitive skill, which is making sense of information that's coming in the foreign language. No grammar book with adapted exercises for non-native speakers can teach you that. You can teach yourself how to make sense of information, but you need to be pretty advanced to do that. And if you are already advanced, don't use the tools for pre-intermediate level students. For the same reason, you will not find videos on YouTube where I teach you pronunciation. I am learning pronunciation myself. I am not a native speaker. I'm also a learner. And I am very much interested in virtuosity, mastery, and achieving native-like fluency. I still have a lot to learn. So I make videos about skills and the system of exercises and the methodology that I'm developing, that I've been developing for so many years, and I'm still working on it. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to finish it. It's an ongoing process, and every year it gets better and better. There are more details, there are more nuances to it, and my own pronunciation keeps improving. So the videos that I make are about human skills. Because in order to get to that level, you don't need more information, you don't need more knowledge. You need the application of knowledge. Meaning you need a system of knowledge application. It's not enough to know a lot. It is important to know how to apply it in your real life situations. So to improve your pronunciation, you need to have really, really good listening skills. That's why my course is titled Learn to Hear Every Single Word. That's why the videos that I make are about the human skills, such as attentiveness, focus, concentration, and all the other meta skills that you need to become a good learner. This is why my project is not about improving your English skills, but about becoming a daring learner. Because if you know how to learn, you can learn anything, any skill. I'm interested in mastering skills. And English is no more than a skill. It's a skill. But to learn English is pretty easy. To communicate in English, to learn to build relationships in English, to maintain good relationships in English, to build a business in English, to create partnerships in English, to make sense of tons of information in English, and to write for native speakers, for other native speakers. Let's say you're working on a team with a lot of native speakers and non-native speakers, and you need to create a lot of materials for the entire team. So you need to know how to write and express your thoughts with clarity and precision. It's a vital skill here. And to learn this is a different story. It's very different from acing the English grammar. Very, very different. This is why I'm talking about meta skills. Meta skills are higher order skills that help you learn anything, and they help you improve what the skills that you already have. So once you have developed those important meta skills, they're permanent. You will never lose them. And if you want to improve your English skills, let's start with grammar, pronunciation, enunciation, listening skills. The best thing you can learn to do is self-correction, which is another meta skill, and you can start small. You can start by sending voice messages to people and listening back to your own voice messages and learning to analyze everything you said and learning to ask yourself the same question over and over again. Have I heard a native speaker say so? If yes, what's my source?